Bitcoin plummets massively, almost 2% down today. The new baby moon boys that just bought their first cryptos 3 months ago are beginning to wonder, is this what a bear market feels like? As bears worldwide are rejoicing at this chart, is this actually really bad? Or in fact, is this actually really good? As Bitcoin continues to quite literally go sideways, this most recent couple of percent dump has really brought into question for many new people in the space, is this the end? But what if I told you you're just being a big baby? So if you understand that before the biggest pumps come the dirtiest dumps, hit that like, hit that subscribe, get signed up to BINGX or BINGX, blow up my Bitcoin or altcoins. Without any further ado, I just can't even hold this in anymore. We just got to jump into it. There's a few main things I want to talk about. So in terms of news, we see that the SEC's head of crypto asset enforcement division has resigned. The SEC and their enforcement actions against crypto have been honestly embarrassing for them for the past year. It has been L after L after L, and I expect that to continue, especially as we head into just a few months, basically, election coming up. Politicians are going to try to be as favorable to everyone as possible because they want election or re-election. And it's going to be big. I think it's going to be extremely big. But more importantly, Chimpzoo on X, on Twitter, has a few key points that I've highlighted that I think are just really important, that absolutely I agree with in every capacity here. Whereas his first post says, Bitcoin has gone through a total reset, both technically and from the narrative perspective. We saw the tops back here. He has plotted it in the A. B is price suppression as apes take profit in short. And then currently, a breakout of a month-long suppression, consolidation, and resistance shorting of about that $70,000 level. A few other key points, I picked out ones that I think are the most important. We see ETF flows net are continuing to remain very positive, and this is going to be a factor as we go forward. It's not going to be something that really does anything to the price tomorrow or today, but a long-term driver. We see that stocks are absolutely ripping, right? We look at the stock market continuing up, which is going to be good for Bitcoin in my strong opinion here. Actually, let me zoom out. Is going to be very good for Bitcoin. I personally think it's a very almost necessary thing that needs to be in place before Bitcoin truly goes on a monster rip. Also, with global liquidity being probably the biggest individual driver. But we also see that the ETH spot ETFs will probably begin trading within the next 2 weeks, the very beginning of July, most likely. We see that the crypto Twitter timeline is extremely negative, right? People are fighting. Sentiment is just this again. I want to keep hammering home the point that sentiment is awful. And in my 8 years roughly of crypto experience, sentiment has been one of the most spot on, accurate measures of where this market's going to go. Meaning when everyone's hyper bullish, usually we're very, very, very close to a top. And when everyone is just super mega bearish, that's usually a bottom indicator. But the craziest thing is we're neither of those right now. We are extremely bearish in terms of overall sentiment in this space. Extreme boredom, extreme negativity, extreme pessimism. But Bitcoin is literally just sitting right at the previous all-time highs. To me, again, that's the perfect recipe for like the best case scenario. And it doesn't seem like it to like 95% of people in this market. But that's exactly how you want it to be if there's actually going to be that rally that everyone's kind of anticipating. Also, this tweet is personally, I think, getting a lot of attention because the guy here said that $8 million is not a lot. Guys, let's be honest. I mean, I think I've read a lot of tweets kind of responding to this. $8 million is a lot of money. Okay. I don't know if people think they sound really cool when they say, oh, $8 million, that's nothing. Are you kidding me? $8 million can literally buy you multiple beautiful houses, or let's say like 1 or 2 beautiful houses, enough food to live most likely the rest of your life, unless you're like really bad at managing money. I mean, if you can't live off of $8 million, even as a young person, because if you're 80 years old with $8 million, I mean, good luck trying to even spend all of that, unless you're just completely crazy and just buy like an $8 million house, which you could do in one purchase. You don't need that, obviously. But I mean, come on, $8 million? Are you kidding me? That's a lot of money. I don't think there might be one or two people that are watching this video of the multiple thousands of views that might have that money, right? Maybe a couple, who knows? I actually have no idea. But statistically, that's most likely the case. I mean, it's just crazy to me. It's one of the reasons I honestly have been kind of tuning out more and more month after month, year after year of like crypto Twitter and YouTube, because I see dumb stuff like this of somebody saying, oh, you only have 3 million, you only have 5 million, you only have $8 million. What are you talking about? That's a lot of money to 99.9% of people in the world. It's so stupid. This space, honestly, is so dumb sometimes. $8 million? What are you talking about? Of course that's a lot of money. I just don't get it. These people I don't know if he's joking. I can't even tell. U.S. politicians are rapidly also flipping bullish, not just Trump, but also like Biden is trying to be a little more favorable towards crypto right now because he knows he's getting absolutely banged. Okay. Basically, there's a couple things Biden needs to do to win re-election. The biggest one is stay alive. Okay. That's his biggest challenge, just staying alive for another 4 years if he wins the presidency, because then it's going to be Kamala Harris who's the president, naturally, because if he dies in the next 4 years, I mean, mentally, he's already gone. But yeah, I mean, Biden has to do a few things. People are not happy with the economy, with inflation, and I think people are going to vote against Biden. Maybe if he can make some good policy changes, but I think a lot of momentum is swinging the opposite direction. Who knows? If you're voting Biden, absolutely, you need to hope that he has some more like punches that he's hiding like up his sleeve, because things aren't looking great. A lot of people are very frustrated. Inflation is insanely high. The cost of living and everything is just up and up and up. Mortgage rates, everything is high, and people are struggling. That's why I think it's crazy. Like $8 million is not as much as it used to be, right? $8 million maybe 30 years ago was probably the equivalent of like $20 million today. But that doesn't take away from the fact that $8 million is still a substantial amount of money. Most people watching this video are never going to make $8 million in their entire life, right? So it just blows my mind when someone says that. Like, I don't know why it makes me so upset, but like $8 million is a lot of money. Every bounce from $72,000 is also getting weaker. Matter of time until it breaks, just like it did in 2018. Now, this post by Crypto Jelly on Twitter actually highlights something big. And right, looking at this chart, it looks like we're about to break down. Well, this is an inverted chart. This is actually up. He inverted it. It's like a little psychological trick that people do all the time that I like, because it kind of just shows you, our supports, the lows have been higher and higher. We're trying to break this overall massive resistance right here. This resistance, right, pretty much between like 70 to 72K. Okay, it's just this big zone, and once it breaks, I think it's going to break big time, and it will be massive support. We break it and eventually come down to it. It's going to be massive support. That is why this is so significant. The price can only go one way or two ways. It can either go up or it can go down. And I don't have to show you the chart of Bitcoin's history, but ultimately I think this is going to be going much higher. In the medium term and short term, let's be honest though, still in the last 3 months, nothing insanely bearish or bullish has happened. We have been ranging for 3 months. So it's okay if I feel like people should not be like, I guess in the short term, outwardly bullish, but definitely also not outwardly bearish. Okay. This to me, extremely bullish in my opinion. I don't know how else to say this. I've said it a million times. I'll keep saying it. But also we see that altcoins, 3-week Gaussian channel has finally changed from red to green, according to Mustache on X. The last time this happened was in 2020, after which we saw an alt season lasting several months, the massive alt season. And looking at this chart, alt season has really been almost non-existent. Alt season has, there were a couple months earlier in this year of 2024 where there were some nice alt gains, but overall, alts have massively underperformed. I haven't looked at this chart today, but let's take a look. If we really, look at this chart. This is Bitcoin dominance. Bitcoin dominance has been rising since 2022. Altcoins have really not performed well compared to Bitcoin for basically almost 2 years. And that is to say that altcoins are underperforming and their time to go up is coming, right? It's spring loaded, I believe. I think it's only a matter of time before we see something very similar to what happened back in 2020. Now, You might be asking, if you've only been in this market for a few years, did altcoins lag back in the last bull market? Yeah. Bitcoin did well, and it took a while, and then altcoins started doing really, really well. But it took time. It took literally months after the halving. And now we're getting there. We're slowly pulling away from the halving, meaning it was, not super long ago. It was pretty recent, but every month that goes by, we're pulling away from that halving and making it more and more likely that if history repeats, that we're going to see a massive alt season along with the true most bullish part of this Bitcoin bull market. Also, the DXY has been up for the past couple of days. That's mainly probably because it's likely that we might get one rate cut this year. Potentially, as I've been saying for the past few months, I personally think the healthiest thing for this economy would be to not cut rates yet. Okay, just keep it restrictive, not risk having to raise rates if something goes wrong, but then also not prematurely cutting. So just kind of keep it where it's at, and that's what they're doing. I think that's a fine choice. I think it's a hard choice to decide, should we cut or should we keep it where it's at? I think honestly the smartest thing right now is to keep it where it's at. However, that choice means that Bitcoin and crypto might not explode to the upside quite as soon. I think absolutely it's coming big time, but maybe it'll get pushed back a month or two because this restrictive policy and the global liquidity and the money printers have not gone on full throttle, which, when rates start coming down, let's say, I think with the first rate cut, crypto equities are going to explode massively. I don't think we're going to be seeing the rate cut in the next 2 months. Maybe September, right? That's what they've been saying for a while. Maybe September. Maybe something breaks before then and we need rate cuts before September. It's possible, but probably not. I mean, if I would take a guess, I would say probably not. Maybe we'll get one rate cut this year. And if we don't get one this year, maybe very first month, very beginning of next year. Either way, this thing is ready to pop. And again, in my opinion, I don't care if it happens in 1 month or 5-6 months. I'm very confident it's going to be happening soon. And I think a lot of people don't share that same viewpoint. I think a lot of people want it to happen now, immediately now, and they need it now. And I don't feel the same way. I think that, first of all, I think the longer that we wait for a true breakout, it's not as fun, but I think the longer we wait, the more sustainable and healthy and higher we can go. So it's basically trading short-term pumpiness for long-term, even more pumpiness, but you have to be patient. And patience is a thing that I think a lot of people struggle with. But again, looking on even the weekly chart for Bitcoin, right now we have not even come back down to retest the 21 week. Anything above that is still mega bullish in my opinion. If we start sliding below 63,000, then we can start to say, hey, maybe this correction could take a month or two, and maybe this could be a longer sustained sideways and slowly more dumpy before something big. But again, we haven't even come down there. So that would need to happen first. You cannot prematurely say, yes, we're definitely going down here and then we're going here and here. But I mean, on the short term as well, the daily chart for Bitcoin, we're right now on the 50-day moving average, and the 100 day is right around 56, which if you look at this chart, we have not even touched that since we started, or since we broke above this bearish. Actually, let me zoom out even more so you can kind of see how this 100, so when it flipped bullish at the very beginning of 2023, that was when this uptrend was really kind of confirmed. And we've been in an uptrend really since then, except back in August 2023, we had a couple of months where we fell below it, but ultimately it held. We could see a similar situation, right? I think people would be so bearish and so scared there, but ultimately that's very easily also a bullish possibility. Just short term, it wouldn't be bullish. It could be extremely long term, mid and long term, but in the next month or two, if something like that happened, people would think doom and gloom, it's all over. And that's also, as I said, you got to factor in still, people are so hyper bearish on it's still kind of blowing my mind a little bit because when the market gets boring in bear and bull markets, I tend to tune out a little bit and I don't pay as much attention because at the end of the day, we're all going to die someday and I don't want to waste my entire life only looking at charts, right? So I do other stuff. But sometimes when things get boring, I kind of tune out a little bit. And for some reason, the people that don't tune out, I feel overanalyze and end up just making the worst mistakes possible. Sometimes it makes sense to stop obsessing as much. You can still obsess, but maybe pull yourself back a little bit and really look at what's happened. Look at what's happening and what has happened. The further you zoom out, It's so easy to get caught up in stuff. But looking at this chart, anybody that has any level of emotional intelligence, emotional control, will look at this and say, okay, zero reason to panic right now. In fact, zero reason to panic. And there's a very strong case Bitcoin is going to do everything it's always done right at this point where it's at previous all-time highs. And, you know, I don't know if it's tomorrow. I don't know if it's next month. Nobody on the planet knows. But it's a very strong possibility that we start, in my opinion, much stronger possibility than we go the opposite way, significantly, that we, you know, just enter a very euphoric phase. But again, there might be some more pain needed first. Nobody on the planet knows for sure, but it's still way too early to start saying for sure that we need more pain, considering this chart is not bearish at all, guys. For the past 3 months, again, we've been ranging, but of these past 3 months we've been ranging, we're not even like in the lower half of this range, okay? If this is the range we've been in for the past 3 months, we're still in the upper half of it. Okay, this isn't like, if this is where you want to get really bearish and this is where you want to get really bullish, or let me draw it this way. If this is really bearish and this is really bullish to you, which it's not, I mean, this is still all really good price action. But if this is where you want to gauge it, we're still in the bullish part. So, I don't know. I'm just having trouble. I think it's a lot of newer people that don't have a lot of market experience that panic on every little move. For pizza's sake, right now, Bitcoin is down 1.5%. And my honest opinion is that this price action is boring and I don't really care about it that much. But I haven't made a video in a couple days and people are asking, where are you? Where are you? So I made a video. And get some to BINGX or BINGX if you want to buy Bitcoin or altcoins. Without further ado,